welcome to Live Your Bliss Today. This is Kenyette Kilpatrick. Our special guest today has a fascinating background. His more sedate side has expressed itself over the years as a university professor, a married priest of the Eastern Orthodox Church, and a best-selling author on personal transformation methods used by ancient cultures. On the more edgy side, he is a martial artist expert, an emergency management expert. He's trained in counterterrorism by veterans of the U.S. and Israeli Special Forces, and he used to run top secret intelligence operations for the Canadian government. As one of the world's leading experts on human resilience and a best-selling author on the personal transformation methods used by ancient cultures, he has taught various forms of sitting and moving meditation to tens of thousands of people worldwide. And he's here today to tell us 3 critical things that most meditators never get right. 1, why you need to understand and optimize your physical structure if you want to get anywhere with meditation. And 2, how you can maintain the meditative state easily throughout the day and why it's so critical to your life and success. And 3, why you need to know about and practice several of the 8 principal types of meditation if you want to achieve optimal physical, emotional, and spiritual health. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Symeon Rodger. Hi, Dr. Symeon.
Hi, Kenyette. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's so wonderful to have you here. Thank you for being here with us today. And I know we are going to be discussing the meditation secrets of the warrior elite, the ocean of energy. Can you tell us, what is the ocean of energy? What does that mean to you?
Well, the ocean of energy as a term comes, actually, Kenyette, it comes from Taoism, which is the basis of Chinese medicine. And the ocean of energy is just a reference to a place in your body, to tell you the truth. It's a reference to what in Chinese medicine is referred to as the lower dandian or lower elixir field, which is your body's main energy storage area located just below your navel, about 1.5 to 3 inches below your navel and about 1/3 of the way in from front to back. And so this is where your body actually stores most of its energy. And this energy, once the ocean of energy is full to overflowing, as they say very poetically in Chinese medicine, what this energy does is it surges through the 12 acupuncture meridians of the body and clears out those meridians. Now, all those meridians are linked to particular organ systems. So, for instance, there's the kidney meridian, the liver meridian, the heart meridian, the lung meridian. And so what this does is it balances and basically reinforces the health of all your major organs. But in addition to that, it has a profound effect on your central nervous system and a huge effect on your emotions, because your emotions are energetically linked to all those acupuncture meridians, to all those organ systems. And that's why in Chinese medicine, for instance, each particular organ system is linked to both certain types of positive as well as negative emotions.
That's really interesting, Dr. Symeon. How important is it to meditate?
Well, in a minute, okay, I'll answer your question, Kenyette, but in a minute we'll have to go and talk about what the heck meditation is, because most people do not know.
Okay.
But when we're talking about meditation, properly speaking, it's wildly important because, just from a health point of view, meditation has huge effects on your health, your immunity, and your longevity, and this has been demonstrated in study after study. So people who meditate, even at sort of a very low level, can enjoy some of this, because what meditation will do is switch your nervous system over from what's called the sympathetic nervous circuit to the parasympathetic. The parasympathetic is a very calming circuit of your central nervous system, and induces a deep calm. And as well as, because it induces a deep calm, it causes the endocrine system of your body to emit hormones, neuropeptides, neurotransmitters as well, that are all calming and restorative and rebuilding. But when you're in the sympathetic system, you're very responsive to your external environment. It's highly stressful, and that causes the endocrine system to emit neurotransmitters, neuropeptides, and hormones that tend to break down your body and compromise your immune system, hence the effect of stress, right? So
Right.
So that's one thing that it does, but it also, it calms emotion, it dissolves trauma, it puts you in charge of your thinking for the first time. It can put you in charge of your thoughts. More than that, it has a really amazing effect, which is, in our culture, we've been taught since the time we were knee-high to a grasshopper that we are our brains, our thoughts, and our emotions. I am my brain, my thoughts, and my emotions. That's what my culture teaches me. In fact, in meditation, you learn that vision of the human being, that sort of anthropology, is totally wrong. You are not your brain, you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions. You have a brain, you have thoughts, and you have emotions, and all that's good. Mm-hmm. However, you're much more than that, and meditation takes you to a particular experience, and pretty soon after you begin meditating, you get this. It takes you to a particular experience that we refer to as the place of the observer, where you are able as a personality to sit back and observe the brain, the thoughts, and the emotions, and you realize, I'm not those. I have those, but that isn't who I am, and this is a huge revelation to people.
Right.
So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into just some of what meditation does, and that's just scratching the surface.
Well, Dr. Symeon, perhaps you can help us to kind of connect the ocean of energy and meditation and how that kind of works together in order to stay in the meditative state for a longer period of time than just a few moments after you've finished meditating.
Well, yeah, and you've hit really there on the central problem that most meditators have, certainly beginning ones, and many who've been at meditation for many years, depending on what they've been taught, because people sometimes are taught a very limited idea of what meditation is, especially in the West. And the big problem that you've alluded to there, Kenyette, is that, yeah, we feel great when we're sitting on the meditation cushion, oh, wow, is this ever relaxing? And then we get up, and then all hell breaks loose because we're in our normal day. And as soon as the body starts moving and the senses start reactivating, suddenly we're overwhelmed by all the input, and we lose totally that meditative focus. We're essentially, we go back into our heads, which is where we tend to live in the West, with very little awareness of our bodies, and we get into this very stressful, our stressful day where we're really hooked up with the sympathetic nervous system, and we lose all the benefits of that meditation. Mm-hmm. And this was realized by ancient traditions as well, where, in the Taoist tradition, sometimes you'll find people saying, well, sitting meditation is no big deal, but the mind has to become, as one of them said, as unstirring as a mountain. And it's just a very poetic way of saying it has to be as unstirring as a mountain in both in meditation as well as in activity. Mm-hmm. So what you want to do is be able to remain in the meditative state all the time, and this is what what we call authentic ancient traditions taught. These are the spiritual traditions of ancient times that actually could prove they got results. And all of these traditions still exist, and they're practiced worldwide, and one of them is including, in fact, the original Christian mystical tradition from the Christian East. And all of these traditions have one thing in common, which is they want you to so master this internal state that you can remain in this state automatically all the time, 24/7, without effort, because it completely transforms your physical body as well as your spiritual life, as well as, well, everything you are, in fact. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you're completely transformed, or in the process of being transformed. So they want you to be able to do this, and there are very specific ways that you are able to do this, and it has to do with, the ocean of energy, in the sense that, and the ocean of energy is just an expression that, we used, granted we adopted it for the name of the program, but because it is pretty central to all of this. There are several places in the body that people tend to focus on in meditation, depending what the meditation system is and exactly what it's for, because different meditation systems have different purposes. So sometimes some meditation systems at certain points they'll focus on places like the ocean of energy, that point in the lower abdomen, or they'll focus on the heart, or they'll focus on the third eye, or whatever it is, and for all for very specific purposes. Now that's getting into a lot of detail, but what it means is that in order to stay in this meditative state, there are actually some tricks we can use.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to use tricks at the beginning. And the most potent trick out there, and it's one we teach in detail in the program, is to coordinate your breathing, your physical movements, and your mental attention, and put all those three things together. Your breathing, your movement, and your mental attention. And if you look at things like, well, even Indian Hatha Yoga, for instance, but certainly Chinese Qigong, which is its Chinese equivalent, more or less, even though its methods look different, or Chinese internal martial arts like Tai Chi. What is a person doing if they're doing Tai Chi? Well, they're integrating their breathing, their movement, and their mental attention. And the purpose of this is to restore physical health, which all of these systems do brilliantly. But more than that, it's to introduce the person to a whole new life feeling, a whole new feeling of what it is to be alive as a mind-body organism.
Right, and I know that being in that feeling state is very important, even to manifesting the things that you want. You need to get into that feeling state first. And the question that's coming to mind is meditation and visualization linked, or are they the same or different?
Meditation and visualization. Visualization is a technique that can be used in meditation. It is used traditionally in some types of meditation, but not others.
Okay.
So, for example, if you look at Tibetan Buddhism, for instance, which has an extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary syllabus of meditative practices with a wide variety of applications, wide variety of methods, they do have some meditations, some but not all, that do use visualization. So visualization has some applicability to meditation, but there are other systems where you deliberately don't use it.
Well, now, I know that in meditation, oftentimes people will sometimes use meditation because they are experiencing symptoms of pain, or they want to create better health and vitality. And how can one do that using meditation? And is there a specific meditation that would address that?
That's a fantastic question. Yes, there are. But here's where we go back to that original statement I made where people don't understand what meditation is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me double back a little bit. In Chinese medicine and in Taoism in general, and don't forget the Taoists, a little bit of an aside for everybody, Taoism has always focused on longevity. And Taoism is the oldest scientific tradition on the planet. So the Taoist longevity tradition is the oldest scientific tradition on the planet. You look at anybody who's into any of the purveyors of self-help in the bookstore, and how long have they had to document their methods? At the outside, maybe 50 years, 5 decades. Well, the Taoist longevity tradition has been experimenting and documenting this stuff for 500 decades. They have 5,000 years of stuff to go on.
That's amazing, yeah.
And they've developed systems that routinely get people well past their 100th birthdays in great health. That's what they're known for. So they know how this works. And what they will tell you is that in order to understand how you can get great health through meditation, first of all, they'd say you have to stop thinking like a Westerner. Because don't forget, ancient cultures did not divide everything as we do into mental categories. Like we think meditation is something you do sitting down. You're either meditating or you're not. Okay?
Right.
Exercise is something you do, is one thing you do. Spirituality is a completely different thing you do. They didn't think like this. They had a very holistic view of life, and they still do because they practice these methods. So the upshot of that is that in order to get really great health through quote unquote meditation, you have to broaden your definition of what meditation is. Part of the reason for that is we have a delusion in the West that meditation is strictly a mental thing. It's something that happens, mental activities and that's part of our cultural bias. But authentic ancient traditions completely differ because they will tell you that intelligence and consciousness in the human being are non-local. They're not localized in the brain, or for that matter, really anywhere else, although the center of consciousness is the heart, not the brain.
Okay.
And science is catching up with this. We know the energy field of the heart is thousands of times stronger than that of the brain. We know that the energy field of the heart can be detected even by our instruments at distances of up to sometimes 12 or 15 feet from the body, 3 or 4 meters. So, and we also have scientists who believe the heart's energy field, if our instruments were a little better, could be detected out to, I think somebody said 3 kilometers. So the heart's energy field is huge, and the heart reacts to stimuli before the brain does. And the heart has a more accurate view of things than the brain does. There's some experiments about that. I won't get into that. That's a diversion, or a distraction. But so for health through meditation, first you have to understand that in order for meditation itself to work, you have to engage the physical body. Because if you're not engaging the physical body properly, the energy channels of the body are going to be blocked. The nervous system, the body's central nervous system, is not going to function properly. Its organs are compromised. Its energy field is weak. Mm-hmm. Its immunity is lacking. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah,
so until you fix the body, it's ridiculous to try to meditate. And that's why in the Taoist tradition, and they're not alone, everybody else agrees, basically, begin with the physical body. Begin with the physical body. There's a lovely, lovely quotation from a famous Taoist physician, and it is it's 2 seconds. I think I know. Yeah, here it is. He said, "Nourish the temporal." The temporal meaning the physical body. So he says, nourish the temporal, strengthen the physical body. To nourish the physical is the point of departure. When vitality, energy, and spirit are vigorous, one can bear hunger and cold. Having cultivated the physical body until it is firm and strong, you have the basis for developing the spiritual. And he could have added, for developing health. And that's from a famous Chinese physician, Sun Tzu Miao, who lived in the 7th century and who lived to over 100 himself.
Well, now, Dr. Symeon, how is it, what exactly would we have to do in order to help the physical body so that we can actually meditate like a master? And to be able to...
Are you ready for some exercise, Kenyette? Are you up for some exercise?
Sure, I'm
Good.
absolutely ready for it.
Okay, maybe everybody else is too. So, anyone who's listening, you can certainly follow along. Here's the first thing we're going to do is fix your breathing.
Okay.
First thing we have to do is fix the breathing, and you can do this. You can follow along and do this very easily. If you have any blood pressure issues, you might not want to, and that's okay. So just take it very easy. Only do what you feel comfortable with. You can do this sitting or standing. I'm standing, and that's recommended, but you can also do it sitting if your back is straight. So how do Westerners breathe?
Usually it's pretty shallow, I'm thinking.
Yeah, it is pretty shallow. So let's do it. We're going to do some breathing demonstrations, and you can follow along. Now, for this breathing demonstration, I'm going to inhale and exhale through the nose. Okay, that's what we'll do. We'll take 3 breaths each time, and we'll inhale and exhale through the nose. So now we're going to do a certain type of breathing, and for this type of breathing, when we inhale, our shoulders will rise and our chest will expand. And when we exhale, our shoulders will go down and our chest will contract. Is that fairly clear?
Okay, pretty clear.
Okay, so breath number 1, inhale, shoulders rise, chest expands, and exhale. One more time. Inhale, shoulders rise, chest expands and fills with air, and exhale. And last time. Inhale, shoulders rise, chest expands, now exhale. Now, how did that feel?
It feels, for me, I kind of feel a little bit lightheaded, but it also feels like I'm getting more oxygen to my body than I usually get.
You are. And it feels good. It actually does feel good. However, what we've just done is an exaggerated version of the way Western people breathe. We chest breathe. And if you don't believe me, the next time you're in any venue where people are, just sitting down, like a meeting or on the bus or whatever, just watch the shoulders rise, go bob up and down. And this is how Westerners breathe. Now, the problem with this is, from a physical point of view, when you breathe like this, you use more energy to expand the chest and raise the shoulders than you get from the oxygen you bring in.
Oh, I see.
So it's a losing proposition. Worse than that, chest breathing is associated with negative emotional states. So the more you chest breathe, the more it activates the rational mind, that internal dialogue that doesn't stop, that emotionalized thought stream that runs your life sometimes and keeps you up thinking about stuff. That's what it does. So it's linked to negative emotional states. So the more you chest breathe, the more neurotic you can become. A typical example: if you see someone who is deeply immersed in a negative emotional state, could be fear, anger, jealousy, rage, doesn't matter, what happens to their breathing? It rises in higher and higher in the chest, right?
Right, and shallow.
Shallow.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Gets more and more ragged, higher, higher in the chest. Now, if you take that person and you get them to breathe deeply into the abdomen, their negative emotional state will dissipate very quickly. And that shows you how artificial that negative emotional state is.
Right.
And that's why essentially all meditative systems will teach you to breathe deep into the abdomen, because they know what effect that has on the mind, on consciousness. So how does that work? Well, let's try a different type of breathing. This time, when you inhale, your shoulders and chest are hardly going to move.
Okay.
When you inhale, well, what you can do is take one hand and place the thumb of that hand on your navel. So the rest of that hand, the palm of that hand, is resting against your lower abdomen below the navel. Okay?
Okay.
Now, this time, when you inhale, your abdomen is going to expand. And when you exhale, your abdomen will contract. So when your abdomen expands, you'll be pushing that hand out, right? And you'll be pulling it back in when you exhale.
Okay.
So let's try that. Okay, ready? Breath number 1. Inhale. Abdomen expands outward, pushing your hand outward, and exhale. Hand comes back in. Inhale. Abdomen expands out to the front, and exhale. Comes back in. And last time, abdomen expands outward, and exhale. Comes back in. How did that feel?
You know, it's almost like you have to rethink how you're breathing, because you're so used to doing it the other way. But it feels a lot better. It actually feels like I don't feel lightheaded when I do that. So it feels like I'm getting a lot more into me than I was before.
Yeah, what you're doing is what's called normal abdominal breathing. Now, this is the way the human mind-body organism is ordinarily meant to breathe. And it's meant to breathe this way. It has a few really amazing benefits. One, of course, is it does calm the mind, and that's why it's used in meditation. And that's why it's so effective at leading you to that place of the observer where you can really understand who you are, maybe for the first time. Right. But beyond that, there's some really cool physical stuff going on, too, because think of it, put your hands on your sort of where your lower ribs are.
Okay.
So halfway down your torso, find the bottom of your rib cage. Now, if you're chest breathing, how much activity, how much movement is happening below your rib cage?
Not very much at all.
No, almost nothing, right?
Right.
And so what that means is most of your internal organs, when you're chest breathing, most of your internal organs are really stagnant. They're really not moving very much. So that means your middle and lower digestive tract are really not moving very much. On the other hand, when you breathe abdominally, every breath is massaging all your internal organs. So it's increasing the flow of blood, the flow of oxygen, and the flow of energy to all those organs. And it's tonifying the energy systems connected with those organs, and it's helping also to detoxify your whole system. If you have a problem with constipation, breathe abdominally. So what it does essentially is helps cleans out toxins from all your internal organs automatically all day long. And that's why one of the first things to work on is very slowly and very deliberately turning abdominal breathing into your default setting.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a little bit of time, and there's no rush, but it's an amazing process, and this is what it does. So both from a psychological, spiritual, and emotional point of view on the one hand and a physical point of view on the other, there are huge advantages. Let's try one quick adaptation or slight variation on abdominal breathing just for fun.
Okay.
This time, instead of focusing totally on expanding your abdomen outward to the front, imagine that when you inhale, your abdomen is kind of like an inner tube. So all around your waist, it's kind of like an inner tube, and the whole thing is filling up with air. And what this will do is you'll expand all the way around. So we're going to try this. Okay. We'll do 3 breaths, and just see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, ready? Here we go. Breath number 1, inhale. Expand all the way around, and exhale. Breath number 2, inhale. Expand all the way around. Feel your kidneys expand, and exhale. Breath number 3. Inhale, expand all the way around, and exhale. How did that feel?
It feels like, it's going to my lower part of my body now, that the breath is going into that area instead of staying trapped in my chest area. And it almost feels like that area is breathing through that. But it sounds like I'm going to have to start thinking about my breathing at times just so that I can do that, because I'm the type of person, like we mentioned earlier, that has been a shallow breath chest breather for a long time.
Yeah, pretty soon after early childhood, people get out of proper breathing and they get into the chest breathing, and they don't even notice, of course. It's just part of the cultural habit. Right. And but one of the other cool advantages here, too, is it's great for your circulatory system because it takes the pressure off the heart. This abdominal pumping that you engage in with abdominal breathing almost acts as a second heart. It helps circulation very, very much. So the heart doesn't have to work as hard.
Well, Dr. Symeon, I was also thinking that I feel really calm, and I feel even a better focus after that breathing.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. So what you can do is, just try some meditation, take some meditation time, get into a comfortable meditative position. As long, it can be sitting, it can be on the floor or on a chair, whatever, as long as your back is relatively straight, and just do some abdominal breathing. Either one of those methods doesn't matter. And you do it in a way that's very easy, unforced. You should never feel short of breath, and just let it be what it is. Don't necessarily expect anything. Just do it, and keep doing it. And in time, it will become a default setting. And in the meantime, which is the good part, you have all these other benefits.
And one of the benefits, I believe you mentioned, we were going to also mention about the spiritual connection with God or Source that you get from meditating and breathing in this way.
Well, it's a very important consideration because in all authentic ancient traditions, as I said, including the ancient Christian mystical tradition, in order to come in direct contact with God or Source, you have to get past the ego. Mm-hmm. And the ego is the false self. It's a false idea of who we are. It's this quote unquote personality we have that's really based on, often based on a whole bunch of fears and doubts and self-limiting beliefs and negative emotions, hormones, the phase of the moon, and a few other things tossed in there. But it's not who we really are. And in order to allow God or Source to, really to come into to come into our life and transform it, it is really essential to get past the ego, because the ego is that barrier between us and reality. And in order to come in contact with reality as it actually is, we have to get past that. And that's one of the things that meditation is used for, is precisely doing that. Because doing almost any type of meditation at least helps you on the road to that. There are specific types of meditation, of course, for this, and that help a lot with this, and we'll talk about some of those. But definitely the breathing does really help, because it gets you out of your head and into your body and shuts down that babble of the rational mind. And that's the first step.
Well, I thank you for doing that breathing exercise with us, Dr. Symeon, and all of this wonderful information about meditation, and even thinking about it in a different way. But I also know that you are an expert in the law of attraction, and I wanted to ask you about that while I have you on the line, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
I'm sure our audience would be interested in that too. And I'm sure that we can have this relate to meditation as well, but I was wondering, what are some of the mistakes that many people make while trying to use the law of attraction?
Well, I personally, I think there's really only one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could come up with lots of things, of course, but the main one, and it's not really talked about by very many people, but it's well known to real experts of mindset, is that the mistake people make is they think that, okay, I'm going to try to use the law of attraction. I'm going to try to manifest, quote unquote, what I want as opposed to what I don't want. And the problem is that they haven't changed. It's the same old you trying to manifest a different result without having changed first. It's really putting the cart before the horse. In order to create a different result in your life, you actually have to change internally. And what really has to change, and this is the key, is your self-image. It's everything you think about you. That has to change first. And this is hardly a new discovery. I mean, 100 years ago, Wallace Wattles, when he was first talking about essentially the law of attraction, he did say this. He said, you have to more than fill your current place, which was his way of saying you have to become more than you currently are. You have to become different than who you are right now. So in order to do that, your whole image of who you are, meaning which is your how you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself, all of your self-limiting beliefs, the level of self-respect that you have, and the degree to which you really accept total responsibility for your life, all these things have to shift.
Right.
And the really cool thing is this is about the most easy and fun approach to mindset ever created, and it works gangbusters, and it's way better than fruitlessly trying to fight your way through your self-limiting beliefs.
So you're saying that that meditation is one way that you can improve how you manifest using the law of attraction?
Well, definitely there are types of meditation that do help with that, but it is something you have to focus on. I mean, if you're looking for results in the area of mindset, you really do have to focus on it, and there's a certain amount of intellectual effort that has to go into it too. You have to, you really do have to understand, okay, what is my self-image? How do I feel about myself? How do I think about myself? What level of self-respect do I have? What is my feeling of self-worth? You really have to investigate some of this stuff. So there is an intellectual exercise too, but there's more than that. There's being able to hold in your attention a new and different image of yourself.
Right. Okay.
Discovering, okay, what is my ideal self? Who do I really want to be? What qualities, what attributes do I really want to have? What is it I truly admire in a person? Who do I want to be? Who should I be? And the interesting thing about really successful men and women and really people who are really happy is they have a very definite self-ideal. And the masses of people don't. So unless you're clear on that ideal self, you're not going to get very far. So, it's very important to investigate that as well.
Well, Dr. Symeon, why is there so much internal resistance when one is trying to better themselves, when you're trying to better your life and you are trying to do the things that you've heard you're supposed to do in order to better your life, and sometimes it just seems like you still just stay stuck. What's going on, and why is that happening?
Well, one of the things that comes to mind as you're saying that, Kenyette, was any of this resistance there before you started to change your life? Did you ever notice it before?
Right, okay.
No, right? You
no,
probably didn't notice it.
And so you're now paying attention to it now, right?
Yeah, so the reason it's coming to the fore, the reason you're noticing it, and it's a good thing, you're noticing it because you're trying to change your results in life. You're getting out of your comfort zone. Okay? And the moment you try to get out of your comfort zone, that resistance is going to be there. And it's real. So but the thing is, people often sort of panic about it. How do I get rid of this? You don't have to. Don't worry about it. It's there. It's simply information. And what it is your subconscious mind has a tendency to naturally keep you within certain parameters. Because why? Because you've told it to. Your subconscious mind does exactly what your conscious mind has told it to do. And your conscious mind has been giving it a story for many, many years saying, essentially, stay within the following bounds. And it's been telling your subconscious mind that a particular story in terms of, okay, when it comes to relationships, this is my comfort zone, this is where I should be. When it comes to my finances, this is where I should be. My career, this is where I should be. My family life, this is where I should be. And anything that's out of that provokes resistance.
I see.
And so the key to mindset is to learn how to control the conscious mind. So the conscious mind will start to tell the subconscious mind something different. And if you do it right, it's actually pretty easy to do and a lot of fun. But most people don't know that, and they struggle with this this resistance on the part of the subconscious mind that they then become consciously aware of. But it all has to do with changing your self-image first, and that's what shifts the subconscious mind.
Well, Dr. Symeon, I was just looking at some of the questions that are coming in from the audience, and a general question that I've seen come up a couple of times is about negative chatter or self-talk, and how can you move out of that negative chatter in order to start manifesting the things that you want in your life. I think oftentimes you get afraid if you're first starting to listen to your thoughts and you're first starting to think about the law of attraction and putting it together, and then you see how much negative thinking you have, and then it makes you afraid that what you are creating is wrecking your life, basically. So I've noticed a question about the negative thought chatter in the mind, how one can use meditation to either quiet that so that they can manifest using the law of attraction in a more positive way.
Well, you can quiet it. I mean, you can quiet the rational mind in meditation. There's no doubt. And you can be extremely calm and very blissful on your meditation cushion. And congratulations. Then you're going to get up. And then all of this stuff is going to start all over again, because now you're back in your head and the rational mind is fully engaged during your day. And so just using meditation itself or thinking that that's going to change or that kind of meditation is going to change things, well, no, it won't. What will change is when you learn to use your conscious mind in a very deliberate way. Because right now your conscious mind is kind of, you've trained it to run in a certain groove, right? And this is all the negative self-talk, right? So you've accepted a certain self-image, again, back to self-image, over years and decades, and you've built it up, and you've built whole stories behind it. And at a certain point, if you want to make any progress, you have to let that go. But the only way to let that go is to substitute. So, whoops, sorry about that. Substitute means the conscious mind can only focus on one thought at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you'll agree with that. We can only focus on one thing at a time. Because we can only focus on one thing.
You can doing a lot more.
You
think that you're multitasking, but you're really just one at a time. You're right about that.
Yeah. Well, you can think you're multitasking, but you're really screwing up at more than one thing at a time. So what that means is it's a great benefit, actually, because what it means is if I decide, okay, here's what I'm going to tell the conscious mind, or here's what I'm going to think about in the conscious mind, it means I can't think about something else. So when we begin to deliberately use the power of the mind, it begins to recondition the subconscious so that negative chatter goes away and it's replaced by a completely different life feeling, a completely different set of expectations, a completely different set of behaviors, and therefore a completely different set of results in life.
Right.
Make sense?
Wonderful. I love that. Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, minor technical difficulty. Okay.
Okay.
So that's how it works. In other words, don't fight with the negative chatter. Accept it as information. You know, one of the things that we're incredibly incompetent at in the West is dealing with our own negative emotions. And negative emotions are okay. They're not great, but they're a fact of life. And we tend to have one of three possible reactions to negative emotions. Two are wrong and one is correct. The two that are incorrect are the ones we use. We either try to repress the negative emotion, which never works, right? Because it always blows up on the physical or mental plane in some way, manifesting as disease, for instance, or things like that. Or we accept the negative emotion as completely true. We buy into it, in which case we give it power over us. But what we don't do, because we've never been trained to do it in our culture, is just to relax with it, be with it, allow it to be what it is, but not buy into it. In other words, one Tibetan Buddhist teacher used an interesting expression. She said, think of it as inviting it in for tea and having a chat. You know, and asking, okay, I know you're here. What are you here to teach me? What are you here to tell me? And there's always, it's just information again. So it's not something to run from or be afraid of. It's just where you are now. And you got this way through decades of training yourself. Unfortunately, we all did, all of us. And the way to get out of it is not to fight against it, but to, through developing the new self-image and being very clear on your ideal self, is to develop an entirely different set of thoughts that result in different behaviors, different expectations, and ultimately different results.
Well,
Make sense?
Dr. It absolutely does make sense. And we're actually have about 15 more minutes left on the call. I was wondering if there were any other exercises that we might be able to share with the listeners at this time.
Oh, there are always more exercises. Okay.
That we can fit into the.
Well, here's one. Here's one we can do, and it won't take too long.
Okay.
I mean, we could fix your posture. That's another big problem in the West. We won't do that right now.
Okay.
But here's
that would
what
be
we'll do.
wonderful, though. Okay, go ahead.
Do you have a water bottle there or a coffee cup or something like that?
Yes.
Great. So for anybody who's listening, if you have a water bottle or a coffee cup, that would be a great thing for this exercise. If you don't, you may have some object around you could use and pretend it's one. Now, you're not really going to take a drink. You don't need to. I have a water bottle, but I'm going to keep the top on for this exercise, so I'm not actually going to be drinking anything. And so you just have this, I'll call it a water bottle. For you, it could be anything. It could even be your stapler. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Now, I have it here on the desk in front of me, and I'm standing up over top of it. Now, what I'd like you to do with your water bottle is simply pick it up and pretend to take a drink and put it down the way you normally would. Go ahead. Do that once.
All right.
Now, if you're the average Westerner, what you did was an isolated movement of your arm and shoulder. There's nothing else in it. Your mind might have been off thinking about something else. The rest of your body was off doing something else. And it was basically your arm and shoulder, and that was it. Now, what if this time we do it a different way? So this time what I'd like you to do in a moment is you're going to take a drink again, and you're going to do it using what we call whole body movement. In Tai Chi, Chinese Tai Chi, there's an expression. It says, in reference to animals in the wild, that when wild animals move, they say when one part moves, all parts move. So whole body movement. So in other words, engage every part of your body in taking a drink. I don't care how you do it, just try it. And I'm glad you can't see me because you won't be trying to mimic what I'm doing.
Okay.
I want your attention to be inside your own body. And so there is no wrong way to do it, so just go ahead. Ready? Go.
All right.
So how did that feel, Kenyette?
It almost feels like you're pushing yourself and pulling yourself into the present moment because you're aware of everything you are doing at that moment, and you can't even think about anything else except for that movement.
It does have that effect. That's a really good observation. Yeah, it does have that effect. But there's more now. We can add other things to that. Now imagine this time we're going to use, again, whole body movement, but this time, remember we talked about the ocean of energy as being basically located in your lower abdomen. Now this time when you use whole body movement and you take your drink, I want you to try to initiate that entire movement from your lower abdomen so that your lower abdomen sort of moves first and controls everything. Okay, so try that, but take 2 drinks that way. Ready? Go. Drink number 1, so you reach, take a drink, put it down, and then you do it again. You reach, take a drink, and put it down.
So that time it was more than just moving those 2 parts of your body. It was moving that bottom area, the base area of you. And so it just felt like that was, I guess you were more inclined to lean backwards when you were doing that than before when you were just moving your head or your arm.
Okay, yeah, that's fair observation. And it's a little bit different for everybody, but what happens too is because the whole body is engaged, and whenever the whole body is engaged, so much more is happening because so much more of the body in terms of the internal organs and the nervous system and the blood vessels and the fascia and the muscles, so much more is getting massaged by that movement, which means there's so much more additional help for blood circulation, energy circulation, oxygen circulation, waste removal, etc.
Right.
Now, this time, we're going to do it one more time here, and this time we're going to use whole body movement again, but you can forget about the lower abdomen for right now. But this time, whole body movement, but you're going to link your breathing with the action. Now, when you take a drink, or for instance, when you do each one of the movements, like, movement number 1 is reaching for the bottle, and movement number 2 is lifting it up, I don't care whether that you do that on the inhale or the exhale. It doesn't matter. Do whatever you want. But you're going to link it. Every part of the movement is going to be linked to your breathing.
Okay.
You ready for the challenge?
I think so.
Okay. So we'll do it twice again. So number 1, go. Okay. And number 2, reach and lift and put it down and move your arm back. How about that?
Well, Dr. Symeon, I would love to hear what other people are experiencing from this example, this exercise that we're doing. If anyone wants to share that, please feel free to write in, and we'll definitely love to share that. But now, Dr. Symeon, also, there's so much more to learn from you than what you've shared today. And I've asked Dr. Symeon to create a special offer for everyone who's listening to this call, and I would highly encourage you to go to Dr. Symeon's special offer page right now. If you are on the webcast, you can just hit the special offer button. If you are listening by phone, you could go to the website, and that is www.liveyourbliss.today.com/dr-symeon-rodger.html. So that's www.liveyourbliss.today.com/Dr-Symeon-Rodger.html. And Dr. Symeon, can you share what's in the special offer today, the Ocean of Energy?
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Let's see. Okay, so I've got it here on my screen as well.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I see. I have your page there, too. I'm just going to go to my page so I can see
no problem.
a little
no
more.
Problem.
The Ocean of Energy is a really unique program, Kenyette, because what it is, it's an introduction, or more than an introduction. It's a beginning and intermediate stages of meditation, but it's more than that. It's a collection of 10 videos and 10 audios. It's quite unlike anything else, and we created it because of gaps in what was out there. So this is meditation, but it's free from any particular sort of ideological bias. Okay, so this is looking at meditation worldwide, and the amazing thing that I think that we've done here is we've, as I said, getting back into the body and restoring physical health and restoring the proper functioning of the energy system and the nervous system and all this is a key to being able to meditate, because if those aren't working, your consciousness is just not going to function properly. You can try to meditate all you want. So in our video sections, what we do is we take you through all those precursors to meditation, which have enormous health benefits. And these are 10 professionally made videos, and you'll see myself and my assistant Kathy take you through this as we show you exactly the different postures you can use to sit, as well as the exercises you use to prepare the body for meditation. And there are exercises you can do by yourself. There are some really cool exercises you can do with another person. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it really sets the tone for meditation itself. And in addition, what it's showing you by doing these exercises is it's training you to stay in that meditative state all day long. That's really its purpose. And there is no other way to do that than to show you visually how that's done. And then we have, in addition to the videos, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, Dr. Symeon, I was just going to mention how wonderfully detailed every single video that you put together is, and it just goes step by step, so that even with the beginning person who is even used to, for myself, for example, who is somewhat of a shallow breather at times, just to be able to breathe in and also to have the correct posture was wonderful to be able to see in the videos.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we, as you saw, we go through the breathing, we go through the posture in much more detail than we did here. But you can see it, and you can follow along.
Right.
And then we've also got 10 audios, and the audios cover the eight most powerful types of meditation that there are. There are essentially 8 types of meditation out there. And the first one is what we call sitting still doing nothing. Now, sitting still doing nothing is an ancient Chinese term for meditation. It's kind of fun. But this is a foundational meditation you find almost worldwide, and it's extremely powerful, extremely easy to do, and very, very safe. Then we go into something called combining energy and spirit, which simply takes the first meditation but takes it just to the next level. Combining energy and spirit is the fundamental motor behind the Taoist longevity tradition. So you're basically learning longevity meditation. It has huge health benefits, but also spiritual ones. Then we get into prayer meditation. And people often think prayer and meditation are completely different. They're completely opposite. In authentic ancient traditions, actually, no, they're not. And the line between them is incredibly gray. And so people who are used to meditation and who are introduced to the ancient Christian mystical tradition are astounded to find that, gee, this thing you call prayer, this looks a lot like meditation. And then people who are used to prayer will look at advanced meditation in, say, Tibet's highest yoga tantra or something, will say, gee, this looks a lot like what we do. So, yes, it does. Funny how that works. Then health meditation. So you were asking about can you use meditation for health, and then I branched into that whole thing about getting the body going. But this is a specific meditation for health used from the Taoist system, and it is a sitting meditation. You can do it standing or walking or whatever. In fact, you can do all of these meditations, standing, walking, sitting, lying down. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I can't do any of them lying down because I fall asleep, but maybe you can. So health meditation is great.
Sorry, Dr. Symeon, to interject, but that is one thing that I've been told by quite a number of people about meditation is that they start it and then they fall asleep in the middle of it. So is there a particular key in not doing that? Perhaps it is standing.
I was going to say coffee, but
Okay.
No. To be absolutely serious, I'll tell you the truth. If I try to meditate after about 9 o'clock at night, I will fall asleep.
Okay.
I will nod off too, and I think it's biorhythms. Really, it's as human beings, we have to respect the fact we're just built differently sometimes, and there's going to be times of day when you're not going to fall asleep. Like I could get up to meditate in the middle of the night. Between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., and I would never fall asleep. Okay. I'll fall asleep immediately when I go back to bed. That's just how my body works. And I won't fall asleep in the morning if I meditate, but at night, yes. So respect your biorhythms. You're not going to change them probably.
Okay.
Unless you have significant health problems now and then you radically improve your health, then they could change. But if you're in decent health and decent shape, you probably won't change them. So don't fight it too much. Anyway, health meditation is also referred to as organ meditation. So this one is interesting because it combines a number of meditative techniques. One is visualization, one is breathing, one is feeling. That is feeling what's going on inside your body. And so and there's almost a prayer element to it too. So it's really, really cool. And it's amazing. You can go through this health meditation and come out the other end and you feel like, wow, I feel so good. Yes, you do. There's a reason for that. Then we get into focus meditation, which is, and this goes to your mindset question, this is really about using meditation to create the life you want, focusing on that, what is it I want? Who do I want to become? So you can use meditation to help you with that. Number 6 is what we call generation stage meditation. Now, generation stage meditation is an incredible jewel from Tibet. It is part of highest yoga tantra, their highest spiritual system, and generation stage meditation allows you to overcome the ego in a very, very scientific way. I can't say enough good things about generation stage meditation. It's just incredible. You have to sort of see it to believe it. These Tibetans are seriously smart.
Okay.
Then there's mindset meditation, which is focusing on a particular goal. So it's very much related to the other one I talked about. So there are a couple of mindset meditation methods in here. And the final one, the 8th and last one, is what we call micro-meditation, which really means it's instantly recover your inner power. So this is what we use during the day, for instance, if we're suddenly surprised by something, something suddenly happens and knocks us for a loop, startles us. How do you get back into a centered state very quickly? And there are a few ways to do it, and it's always very good to have these in your back pocket because sometimes you'll need them.
Well, what I like about these different meditations is that you can use them to address any issues that you're having in your life, whether it be you have a goal in mind that you want to focus on, you can do that. If there is a symptom or sickness that you're experiencing and you want to feel better, you can do a meditation on that. It helps with your breathing. I just love that you can address a lot of different issues in your life through meditation. I think that's wonderful.
You can really, because meditation, it's a lot like Chinese Qigong, for instance, or some people would refer to it in colloquial terms, Chinese yoga. It's for different things. There's Qigong for health purposes, for healing yourself. There's Qigong for healing other people. There's Qigong for spiritual purposes. There's Qigong for martial arts purposes. So it's a multi-tool, and meditation is very much the same.
Well, Dr. Symeon, I know that you had mentioned as well that you had a bonus that you were thinking about offering the group. Can you share that with us right now?
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, just before I get to that bonus, I've realized that with the Ocean of Energy itself, there are a couple of quick bonuses I should mention.
Right.
So in addition to the 10 videos and the 10 audios, there is a bonus called, it's a video, the Energy Orbit video. So it's a particular type of Taoist meditation called the Small Heavenly Circulation, or the Microcosmic Orbit. Okay. So which has also huge health benefits. It's something you can do almost anywhere. You can do it standing at the bus stop, okay, or you can do it sitting down. A very classic meditation. And also, there are body scan meditation charts. So body scan meditation is a particular type of meditation that helps you dissolve tensions that are held in your physical tissue, including emotional traumas that are lodged in your bodily tissue. So this is what the bodily scan thing does, and we give you the charts so you know what points to focus on. Oh, okay. More on that, of course, in the program. But the main bonus you're talking about, because you and I had this big talk about mindset and law of attraction and all that, and this is a new program that I'm developing right now. It's going to be launched to my own list next week, and I'll be telling them about it for the first time tomorrow. And that is the program is called Advanced Self-Image Upgrade. So it's a mindset program where I'm going to take a relatively small number of people and walk them through, step by step, how to shift their self-image. So it's going to be very hands-on. It's going to last for several weeks. We're going to meet at least once a week, and there are going to be things to do in the interim, in between our meetings, and it's really sort of a collective workshop as we all get to work on ourselves. And I'll be guiding everybody through that. So it's kind of like a boot camp. Because what we want to do is help people really get over those mindset barriers and get over them quickly and get to a place where they can actually use the law of attraction, but they're going to do it by forgetting about the law of attraction, paradoxically, and getting on with what really has to be done in terms of mindset. And then they'll be able to watch the law of attraction work organically the way it's supposed to. So instead of having the same old you focus on using the law of attraction, which will never work in a million years, you fix you first, and it works automatically.
Dr. Symeon, that is so generous of you to offer this bonus to our listening audience, and this being a brand new system that you're working through with us, I just really appreciate you for doing that, and I thank you for that so much.
Oh, you're very welcome, Kenyette. And for anyone, I guess, on your own page, that bonus, I'm not sure if you've indicated it. It may not be there.
It's not.
No, it's certainly not on mine. It's not on my page either. So just, everybody who's listening to this, if you decide you want the Ocean of Energy, you will automatically get into this other program. If you feel that's something for you, it's certainly available to you, and we'll be emailing you about that after you purchase the Ocean of Energy. We'll email you about the other program as well. We're still ironing out all the details, but as I said, it's being launched next week.
Okay, well, wonderful. Well, Dr. Symeon, we are just coming to the end of our call now, and I wanted to thank you for sharing with us today. Was there anything else that you might want to share before leaving the call?
I was afraid you'd ask me that. You put me on the spot. I can't think of. Honestly, I can't think of anything else. It's
okay.
It's the funny thing is that when we talk about meditation, as I said, people have a very limited idea of what it is, but it does involve all of you. It's not just a mental thing. It is truly a mind-body thing. It has to do with your physical reality as well as your consciousness. And the beauty of the meditation systems is that the traditions who devised these have invested literally hundreds and hundreds of years refining these systems. So what you're getting is really la crème de la crème. It is a highly refined product in terms of what these ancient traditions have developed. And because they realize something that's so cool, which is if you work with consciousness, you can use consciousness to affect and heal your physical body. And when you work through your physical body, you can use that to affect and heal your consciousness. The two interpenetrate, and so when you work with one, you're automatically affecting the other. So what you're doing with meditation is actually you're learning to work with both, and that's the most powerful thing you can do. Work with both at the same time to create particular results.
Well, wonderful. I think that's a great way for us to end the call. Dr. Symeon, thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Oh, you're very welcome, Kenyette, and thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Well, I really appreciate you and learning more about meditation, and I look forward to our next call together.
Me too.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I'd also like to thank our wonderful listening audience for tuning in and getting into a space of creating your very best life. I really appreciate each and every one of you, and I'd like to end by reminding you how important this time is and how we all have a role to play in this world. The choices we make each and every day make up our lives, and when you choose to grow, you are not just helping yourself but the planet. You make a wonderful difference, and you are important. And listen to yourself, meditate often, and continue to live your bliss today. Take care.